This is the crown jewel, Mr. Good as Gold. This is Connor Hopkins.
I am Eric S. Knight.
And I'm a league champion.
And we are the chosen prodigal sons, and this is the Shotgun Wrestling Radio podcast.
What's up, everybody? It's Leon King here, of course, the baddest of the baddest, and you are now listening to Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
This is Gavin Parker, and you're listening to Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
This is the mechanic Big Beasley, and you are listening to Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
This is your deathmatch daddy Bo guy, and you're watching Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Shotgun Wrestling Radio. I'm your host, Zach Takes, and here we're back for another episode this week, episode number 3. Busy week here because it's busy time in the state of Iowa for all of our promotions. Yesterday, you saw we did the summer preview for Rugged Pro and Eminent Wrestling Alliance. Tonight, I'm being joined by one of my favorite people that I love talking to every year, every time we go to see shows together. It's just nice to see your beautiful, lovely, shining face there. Of course, I'm talking about the man behind Absolute Pro Wrestling, Mr. Jason Prentice. My man, it is awesome to see you. And I was typing out your schedule earlier tonight, and I texted you and I said, "Damn, bro, y'all are busy this summer."
Yeah, and that's the thing. People will be like, "But they don't do anything in July." Well, that's because we need a break. Like, we need a break at some point, like with everything that we do. But we got a July show now. We were gonna take the whole damn month off, and then I was gonna go down to Memphis, have me a cocktail with some of the boys. But we said, hell, let's throw another show in there. But we truly, like, this year has been so rewarding for us as a company, and it just as people, the things we've gotten to do, the crowds we've been in front of. Waterloo surpassing 300 people in March for the Winterboro Classic was a big deal. Pat McAfee talking about us, thanks to Joey Jojo, that was a huge deal. Having people back us, support us, and not even just, you talk about names like McAfee, but like within the city of Waterloo, Mayor Quentin Hart, huge into wrestling, huge supporter of what we do. The Sportsplex, an incredible partner.
Great venue, too.
To be able to, a phenomenal venue and great setup for us to put out these great shows. Algona, highest attended Algona show, last show we just did at Floral Hall. First time we were ever in Floral Hall. First time Algona, and this ain't a knock to anybody. When I say that, I mean with Impact Wrestling. IPW, when they would do ladder matches, like the venues, they were not blessed to have high ceilings. With Floral Hall, they actually had a rig for holding belts. It was for a flag, but it just came in handy for us to throw up a belt and, hey, we can put the belts on there. So we got to have a ladder match that was really unique that Algona has not seen like that before. We got to put on a unique match, and we had the biggest attendance for Algona for our show ever, which we're going to hopefully carry that on with our next show, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But, Fort Dodge, we thought we were done in Fort Dodge. We just, with the building we were at, there was a couple things we weren't happy with, they weren't happy with. Not that we weren't happy with each other, but just we both wanted more out of the deal. But then we came across another location, and they offer us just a little bit more. And so now we're going to the Lizard Creek Ranch in July in Fort Dodge. We're really happy about that relationship, that partnership that we're going to build upon. Steamboat Rock, the town has like 130 people total in it, and we drew like 150. So a win for us there. Like, that was fun to have a debut show in Steamboat go really, really well. We're going to have a ladder match this summer. Can't wait to talk about that. So everywhere we're going right now, and obviously everyone's got their eyes tuned in on Des Moines, which we might have a change on that, but we're super confident in what we're going to be able to produce in the Metro for fans who have been asking for us to come there for quite some time in September. So, and that and much more. We got so much to get into, man.
Yeah, that we do, man. And again, this weekend, or not this weekend show, excuse me, next weekend, Saturday, June 15th, back in Waterloo. This is the thing that's awesome about this main event. It's a last man standing match between Ethan Everhart and Aaron Von Baron. And if you remember, you guys pulled off one of the coolest swerves I've seen at a live show. It left a good chunk of us in the crowd just jaw fucking dropped. And I remember walking out of the show at the end of the night with the guys from the Card Subject Change podcast. Great podcast, by the way. Go ahead
Love
and
those.
subscribe to
Love
them.
them.
They're doing a live show in conjunction with the June 15th show. So please go support our friends over at the Card Subject Change podcast. And I remember we were all walking out together. I was like, holy shit, did you believe that swerve they did there at the end? Because you did the Battle Royal thing. You think Aaron Von Baron's hurt because it was just done so well. And then here at the end of Battle Royal, boom, he comes back. And then it's set up for Aaron Von Baron and Ethan Everhart next week.
It's one of those where, if we're peeling back the curtain a little bit, even Mrs. Von Baron didn't know that was happening.
Wow.
There was, I kid you not, probably 4 people who knew that was going to happen. And that involved the 2 wrestlers, Shank and I. Nobody else knew. The refs didn't know. Our commentary people, nobody knew. Ring announcer, nobody knew. It was something that was put together by myself, my partner in crime, Brandon, and a star in the business who will remain. He doesn't like credit, so I won't say anything about that star. But I think you know what I'm talking about. It was one of those. How do you get an organic moment, especially on the indies? Especially on the indie scene. Stories. A lot of people were like, stories on the indies, like whatever. But I think Waterloo is a crowd that is an exception to that. I think everywhere we go, there's an exception to the rule. We do a really good story, and we do really good stories, period, in Waterloo. The crowd follows along, and it gives an importance to the match, doing the story that we did with Aaron coming back at the end. It puts that emphasis, because now next year, one of the things people are going to watch for is, hey, did they go through the rope? It's one of those things. We were really proud of how everything came together. We were proud of the payoff. And now, this last match they had together was phenomenal. And this match, Last Man Standing, we've never done a Last Man Standing in our company. We've never been able to do something like this. They're always tough to do as somebody who's been a part of shows where that is the stipulation. It's always awkward because how do you get to that moment? What do you do to get your opponent down? What's where are the dips and the highs and the lows in the match? I think we have a team that can create a finish that's going to be memorable. And I think we have 2 wrestlers who are going to make the match memorable, period. Ethan is on the run of a lifetime right now. He's so damn young. He's got so much damn potential. He's only scratching the surface. He's been champ since October, and being in his hometown, it's always a thrill to have the crowd behind him. And for Aaron Von Baron, Aaron's never been heavyweight champion. That's another story to tell. Aaron came back off an injury a couple years ago to work with us, and he's been phenomenal. Aaron took a break after the loss of his father, and he was ready to come back and get back down to business. And I think this has been his best run with us, since he's been back wrestling and since he's been with Absolute Pro Wrestling. So, the things that go along with this matchup, the story that's being told, I think people are going to see just how damn these 2 guys are, period, and just what we can create at Absolute Pro Wrestling, especially with the match stipulation being Last Man Standing.
Yeah, just the role that Ethan's been on, I feel like for the last year, I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that this matchup is going to be just phenomenal. And Aaron Von Baron is one of those dudes who I feel like can wrestle any style. And I feel like over the years he hasn't. I feel like people are kind of just now appreciating the worker that he is, because he's been in the business for a long ass time. And I feel like he's finally kind of getting those flowers that he deserves.
And I think part of that is the fact that, like you said, his longevity is one of those things. When people start to realize he's a 10-year vet, I'm a 10-year vet, like 10-year plus. We got in 2012. Here we are, 12-year vet. I can't count. Ashank, he knows. But we're 10 plus years in the business, and they're like, well, okay, longevity. But then you hear, well, he tore his knee up. Broke his leg. He did all these things, and he's still going after all this time. There's some people that at our level do that. At our level, there's guys who break their legs break one of their legs 4 years in, and they never come back. There's guys who, tear up their ACL or their MCL at 7 years in the business, and they don't come back. Aaron's gone through all the trials and tribulations, and he's been pissed at the business. He's been pissed with his standing where he's like, God, I know I can do better, whether it be physical limitations or whatever else is holding him back. He's still around, and I think that's why people appreciate him more, even though the guy is a sick son of a bitch, and he's a psycho, and he's got that mean streak right now. I think people still understand this is a guy who, when he's gone, we got to appreciate him, sure, but we should appreciate him while he's still here.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, man. Again, this all goes down next Saturday, June the 15th in Waterloo. Let's go ahead and run down some other dates here that you guys got coming up. Saturday, June 22nd, the Great American Clash in Algona. Friday, July 12th, Lizard Creek Ranch in Fort Dodge. Saturday, August 3rd, help me pronounce. Yes, okay. And in Algona, I was trying to pronounce it without butchering it, but yeah, that one's
it's all good.
That's Saturday, August 3rd, back in Algona. Saturday, August 10th, Steamboat Rock School in Steamboat Rock, Iowa. And then Saturday, August 31st, back at Cedar Valley Sports Complex in Waterloo, Iowa to kind of wrap up the summer. But again, man, just a busy summer for you guys there in Absolute Pro.
Yeah, the Fort Dodge show we're really looking forward to. The people that we have lined up. There's some people that you're like, oh, well, they haven't been with APW a whole lot. Getting opportunities to people is one of the things we strive to do. We love having people who you may not normally see in Iowa come into our neck of the woods, get a chance to show what they're all about. And we also, we announced it. Aaron Von Buren in the main event. He's a guy who used to live in that area, grew up in Humboldt, but also lived in Fort Dodge for a short time. Aaron's in the main event against Tyler Jones, who's returning to wrestling for the first time in well over a year. Tyler was a guy who, when APW started, we looked at him, we said, okay, let's see what he's about. And quickly we realized, we're like, damn, like Tyler's still going. Tyler's still, again, not scratched the surface. I think he's a kid that applies to. I call him kid because he told me we were having dinner last night. And he's like, I think he said he's turned 27. And I said, Tyler, you're still a baby. Like, I still, like, Juice Box Hero. I still remember that. I still remember all these little things. The Hall of Fame matches.
I'll be honest, dude, when you posted the photo of him on that poster there, I almost had to do a double take because I'm like, is that Tyler? Because it almost didn't look like him at first.
Jay Wesley calls it clickbait. He goes, nope, you're lying. He ain't, there's no way. And I told that to Tyler last time at dinner. He goes, tell Jay I'm coming. It's real. It's absolutely real. We're excited to have him back. Everything came together, and he wants to get back in the ring. He respects, you talk about people giving flowers to AVB. Tyler Jones is one of those guys. Tyler Jones was able to train with guys like Ugly, but he also had a lot of ring time and working and preparing to become a wrestler with Aaron Von Buren. And he was the guy that he would train against when Ugly was teaching all these things. So there's a lot of history between these two, and a lot of matches between these two as well. Whether it be for Impact Pro Wrestling or in Rugged Pro or throughout the whole damn Midwest. Hell, they took the rivalry down into Illinois and down into Tennessee. Like they've been all over the map with this feud. And now you got two guys who are from that area main eventing in what is possibly the last time they may ever wrestle each other. You never really know. But we're just really excited to have Tyler Jones back. It could even be a championship match. If Aaron Von Baron's the heavyweight champion at that point after June 15th, who knows at this point. But I know Tyler Jones' championship title opportunity or not, he's just excited to be back in the ring, period, for Absolute Pro Wrestling, but really for himself too.
Yeah, again, that's just one of the many exciting things you guys got coming up here this summer. Let's talk a little bit too about how tickets are moving for these shows so far. I believe everything's pretty much on sale right now, and it looks like, I know you guys said the first and second row seats for next week's show, June 15th, are already sold out. Which again, you're a week out and you already sold out first and second row. You really can't complain about that.
I mean, we've been sold out for front and second since the last show we did, so you're looking at a month and a half, 2 months out, and your first two rows are done. We sell our GAs day of the show. People are always like, "Hey, can I get?" Yes, you can absolutely get them day of. There was a policy down in Tennessee. This is why, like, Shanky and I do it this way. There's one promotion in Tennessee. They're like, you can only get your tickets online through our Facebook page. No GA sold day of. And I'm like, why would you turn away people? Why would you turn away money? It's just dumbfounded. I was so dumbfounded by that. But people will always be able to buy tickets at the door, day of the show. Sometimes we have folks that don't claim their front or second row. So, hey, you might be able to get lucky enough to, find yourself a front row seat or second row seat still. But right now, GA's only for Waterloo. For Algona, we sold a few more second rows, but I think it's under 15 now for second rows, which for Algona, that market is so unique and so different than anywhere else we go. Same for Fort Dodge. Everywhere we go is different. So for Algona being like, hey, we got 15 of these left, that's huge for us. We did so well at the last show with our attendance. I don't know if we'll see that same spike for this show, but what I do know is that once you're at the Algona show, you're probably going to get your seats just like that for October, because we have a major announcement for what we're going to do in the fall in Algona. Something we haven't done for APW. And typically when we say that, it's worth damn money to go. So Algona's doing really well. Fort Dodge, we just sold out the front row as of this weekend, so we still got second row seats left. We're kind of just getting the word out there right now because it's a new location. A lot of folks, they didn't know if we we're coming back or not. We didn't know if we were coming back to Fort Dodge. We are. We're happy about it. Fans are happy about it. So it's just getting the word out, making sure everybody knows, hey, get your seat. It's a Friday show, which there's highs and lows with Fridays. And thankfully, we have a November show on a Saturday. So really excited about that. Otherwise, it's a free show in August at the fair. People don't have to even worry about getting tickets. They can just show up. They'll have bleacher seating and other type of seating as well available. Some people just bring their own chairs and pull up for that free fair show, courtesy of the Cassuth County Fairgrounds. And then Steamboat. Steamboat, I think we have at least 2 rows left for second row only. Otherwise, Waterloo, I say Waterloo, we haven't sold tickets. However, like for the August show, because we typically do reserve at the next show, then leads up. However, knowing Bob Ford and a few other fans, they're like, "You got our tickets ready to go?" So we have seats reserved already, but not like the other shows right now currently.
Now, again, you mentioned the fair show. We all know you've done your fair share of fair shows over the past. What are some of the things that you love the most about doing the fair shows? They always look to me like such a fun environment. And I know you've been on those long stretches of fair shows that IPW used to run in the summertime, where it was like a 2-week stretch of just nothing but fair shows. And what are some of your favorite memories from these fair shows that makes you love doing them?
I think there's a list I could go through. I guess I will, obviously, but like my first and favorite thing is leaving Winterset is the greatest thing ever. It's just, I have horrible memories there. Although of what I can remember, I took a bad bump one year, and I probably got a little concussion from that. Whatever. But like you said, the long stretch when you're on the road doing a lot of those shows, like it is a lot of fun. There was times I wouldn't do like some of the maniacs, like Death Dealer. Death Dealer does like a whole week, 2 weeks straight of those shows. When we were getting into the business, Dealer and I would go to the shows, and we were doing like 2-3 day stretches. We'd just meet in the next town. Some people would stay over, get hotels and whatnot. But I think one of the things I like is just it's a different environment. It's a different group of people that you're getting entertained. Even with Algona, you do get different eyeballs on you. It's not just the diehard fans that go to each Algona show, whether we be at the VFW or Floral Hall now, but you get people that are fair goers that are like, hey, what does the fair have to offer this afternoon? Oh, they have this. You get a racing crowd because they have this Parkin Memorial, and I believe it's the race that's going. There's 2 nights of Memorial race they do, but on Saturday they do one, and so the racing crowd, we go 4 to 6. Races start at 6:30. Hopefully, we get the racing crowd before they go to the pits and whatnot. So you're gonna have a bunch of different eyeballs that don't typically see what we're doing, see what we are doing, and hopefully you gain a new audience when we say, "Hey, we're gonna be back here at Floral Hall in October. Come see what we're all about." It's just another chance to really promote the brand, promote the wrestlers, because we established relationships. There was people who represented shows up in Minnesota, shows down in Fort Dodge, shows all over, our state and beyond. And they're like, "What's it take to bring pro wrestling to our neck of the woods?" And we were honest with them. Here's our price. Here's what it takes. If you want, certain people to be on these shows, there's a little bit extra on the cost. But it was cool, kind of setting up future things for us down the road. That when we are able to announce that, when we're able to come to an agreement, like it's going to be the next step for Absolute Pro Wrestling. So these fair shows are very important. As a promoter, as somebody who is doing them, they are also very important because you get those eyeballs, you get a new audience. It's something fresh. Even with some of the bad memories or lack thereof from Winterset, there are places like Knoxville. Knoxville's so much fun and was always a good time. One of my favorite Knoxville shows I did with IPW was when I got to manage Matty Starr against Jimmy Wild. That was a fun match for us. All of us that were involved in that, we're all very close, and so selfishly, it was fun to be involved with guys I really care about. And then getting to work with Matty against the Death Dealer, like that was fun as well. Taking Nikki Free, like having a bump for Nikki Free, and this kind of dates me a little bit here, but I took a bump for Nikki Free at one of the shows, and I rolled all the way. We're in a barn, so I rolled all the way in my nice fancy suit outside the ring, just into a bunch of hay and crap, and just got my black shirt and black pants all just dirty. And it was worth it. You got to go all out for these people that are paying, to get into the fair. If they are paying to get into the fair, so those cheap stuff. Just kidding. But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun doing those fair shows back in the day. So I'm happy we get to continue that with the Cassuth County Fair and hopefully some more in the future.
Well, the other fun thing about fair shows too, you guys can get to try different things that you don't normally have to stick to. You don't have to stick to the script of a Waterloo show, of an Algona show per se. You can really go out there and just try different things and get a different feel for different things.
I think the thing I love the most is I don't have to worry about a whole damn setup. Like it's literally put the ring up, we're done, we're good, which is great for my people. My mom does a lot of work with us. My cousins, Christian, Ben, Brandon, Joey, Kayla, like my sister, Keith, like they all do a bunch of work. Badger House, lovely wife, Jackie helps us out. Haley, her daughter, helps us out. So like this takes away a lot of the effort that typically goes into producing the show. It's a whole team effort with getting things ready to go, and with the fair shows, it's a little more simplified to just get the ring up, get the talents to where they need to go change, and then produce these matches. Make sure there is a little freedom, creative freedom. I think even when it's not fair shows, there's a little bit of creative freedom, but especially when you get to do these types of shows where it's like, hey, have fun, try something out, something that's safe, of course. Just be smart where you got to be smart, but cut back a little bit and just kind of enjoy it. That's the thing. I get to enjoy these shows a little bit more. Last year, I found myself kind of watching the show a little more than I'm able to at some of these shows at the fair show last year.
Now, looking back at this year again, you guys have already ran quite a few shows this year, and I know
Yeah.
you were telling me the rest of your year's looking pretty heavy as well. And just so far, looking back at what's been happening with Absolute Pro Wrestling since I think you guys started doing shows back in February, what's one thing that's really stuck out in your mind with how things have gone for you guys so far?
I just think that we have improved some of the aesthetics and some of the, video stuff that we've done. Ryan Hadley, huge benefit to our team. Producing video packages, for the Des Moines show, video package for Draven versus Dealer. Like the fact that we've gotten to do that. So big to do that. We got a new camera for ringside. And so now like we have this hard cam, but we're gonna probably change some of that up too. Like our production side of things has changed immensely. So from just that standpoint, things are improving. I think again, Iowa, I was telling you this before we started even recording, like Iowa has so much wrestling right now. The Midwest has so much wrestling. There's a lot of opportunities for guys and gals now. I think one of the things we do really well is we find people you may not normally see in the Midwest and we bring them onto our show. And I shouldn't say Midwest. You may not find them in Iowa. You may not find them consistently in Iowa. You might see them on one or two shows here or there. But the fact that we are living in a time when Alvin Falcone is a major player with Absolute Pro Wrestling makes me a happy person. Love having him involved. Uriah Upton is a guy who I love getting him involved with what we have going on right now, and I think he'll be a big player next year in developing him and helping him kind of improve his ground with us. Trent Hammer's another guy. And then you look even further beyond that, we've had guys like Gable Galileo who we had at the start of our show, first kind of year and a half. We were doing a lot with him, doing a lot with Max Chill. And then we went, it's okay, well, they're doing this also right now. So let's, while their schedule's kind of tight, we may not always match up and link up. Let's see who we got. And then by year 4, we can say, okay, let's try and get everybody that we've had that we know we can build with and work with to create the best possible scenario ever for this company. And then we're going to explode in year 5. Like, I think there's a lot of potential to do that. And guys like Gable and Max and Jimmy Wild and so many others, they're going to be looked at next year, and they're going to be used even heavier than what we've used them just this year alone. Because it was a little lighter. Gable and I were talking about it. He was giving me a little grief about it. He's like, thanks. I see how it is. You love me. You love me not. And I say, I love you. Don't worry about me. But it is one of those things where you got to check out who else is out there. And that also means the spot gets taken away sometimes. I think that's one thing people don't really realize. Like, sometimes people get rolling, and then you got to stop. You got to stop a little bit and say, hey, we want to check this guy out. Guys like Cannonball Matthews comes in. Someone's going to lose a spot to him because we got to check him out. So that's just part of the business, part of the nature of everything. But it allows us to see the full picture of what's out there, who's out there, and what we could be able to create in the future. And not just with talents, but even shows. The lineup. You just went through it for the summer. There's a reason that's happened.
And we're going to go ahead here and run through it again as we just got just a few more minutes. We're going to go ahead and run down the summer lineup again. All your summer kicks off here next week, Saturday, June the 15th, Cedar Valley Sports Complex in Waterloo, Iowa. Then turn around Saturday, June 22nd, Great American Clash in Algona, Iowa. Friday, July the 12th, Lizard Creek Ranch in Fort Dodge, Iowa. Saturday, August 3rd, Fair Show in Algona, Iowa. Saturday, August 10th, Steamboat Rock School in Steamboat Rock, Iowa. And finally, Saturday, August the 31st at Cedar Valley Sports Complex in Waterloo, Iowa. So again, it's just very busy time for you, very busy time for the state of Iowa. I love what I do. I've been trying to do at the beginning of the month, put a list together of all the shows running for for the month in Iowa, and it seems like every weekend somebody has a show running. And when you and I started really getting into the business and started getting into independent wrestling, for me, it was 2005. We were lucky if people were running one show a month back at that time. Now you're getting opportunity to see a show every weekend if you want to.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we're blessed to be able to do this. When you're like, hey, you got a show this weekend, next weekend, I'm not going to lie, I wouldn't have been surprised if we had a show this weekend, because we got into such a roll where we were running 3 weeks straight here last month. We had a show, Algona, and then we went to Waterloo, and we went to Steamboat. And then we just hit this stretch of no shows. We're like, it feels weird not having a show right now. And all the boys were like, let's just find a barn. Let's just find a barn, set up and go. Let's roll, man. Like we were all game for it. But it is nice to get the stretch where you have a little downtime and you can hang out with your family and kind of go around and whatnot. But at the same time, we do love doing these shows regardless. We love having this little stretch. We'll have back-to-back weeks. We're coming up into that point. We'll have another 3-day stretch or 3-week stretch coming up later in the fall. Where it's not even 3 weeks, it's a 4 week, it's a whole month straight, where we'll have show after show after show after show, banger after banger after banger after banger, if you will. And we're excited about it. We just love that we get to produce professional wrestling content in the state of Iowa, the best state to produce professional wrestling in. I said it, and I hope people are offended by that, but it's truly a blessing to be able to do this and work with people that we get to work with, the team top to bottom, my partner Brandon the Shank Eubanks. Everybody's incredible, and like I said, we're just very blessed to be able to do this.
And for people that want to find out more information about Absolute Pro Wrestling, where can they find everybody at?
Super easy. You can get at us Pro Absolute on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. I don't tweet a lot. I'm a horrible tweeter. I'm not great. Instagram, and it's Absolute Pro Wrestling. It's like Absolute_Pro_Wrestling. You can check us out there. We post. ZK47 gave me grief. He goes, hey, bro, you should probably post a little bit more on Instagram because you're really bad at it. I said, I know. So he might be the new Instagram guru for me. And then Facebook. That's where we post everything, basically. Our Facebook page, Absolute Pro Wrestling. You can find out all the shows we got coming up down the road, all the shows coming up next week, the week after, everything related to what we are doing, you can do that at. So we're, again, all over the socials, good and bad. We're on top of it as best we can.
And of course, I know you guys have a YouTube page too, man. Let's plug the YouTube. We can't forget that.
Prentice Wrestling Network on YouTube. That's where you'll find episodes of USA Wrestling, APW's USA Wrestling. Yes, that is an homage to my uncle. And shout out to Alicia Fearing for redoing the old school artwork of what my uncle's old logo used to be. Want to give her credit where it is due. But yes, APW's USA Wrestling. It's like All-American Wrestling. That's how I look at it. You can find it on the Prentice Wrestling Network on YouTube.
And there you have it, guys. Jason, thank you for joining me here this week as we looked at the preview for Absolute Pro Wrestling. Give them a follow anywhere you can get your social media needs. You'll be able to find Absolute Pro Wrestling. And until next time, we will see you right here on the World Wide Web.